Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. With that said, looking at the put to call ratio right now, it's at 0.49. It's really not that low. I mean, it's on the lower side, but it's not really not an extreme level, but something worth to keep an eye on. Now the economic calendar for the week. Monday we have ISM services at 10 o'clock. Tuesday we have nothing on Tuesday. Wednesday we get FOMC. We got Powell at 2:30, so that could be interesting to see what happens with that. So remember, FOMC Wednesday with Powell. Thursday we have unemployment claims at 8:30. Friday, a ton of Fed speakers. Yeah. So with that said, we'll just get into the tickers. I mean, there's a few to look at right now. SPY, I mean, SPY is getting into the area where there's heavy resistance at the 575 area. I mean, Friday's high was 568. If we do manage to gap up and continue going, 575 might be a pretty big area to get over, but we'll have to see. So we'll keep an open mind and think, okay, you know, if it gets over Friday's high, we're probably going to push to 575, maybe even possibly 580. Now remember, SPY does not like to go to exact numbers, or it likes to overshoot and undershoot levels. So always keep an eye on that. So don't think that it's going to hit 575 exactly, then turn around. I mean, it could shoot to 580 very easily. So keep an open mind. Look at it from both directions. Above Friday's high and underneath 560. Got a gap to fill. Actually, I think we filled a gap right there. We came really close. Yeah, it came close. We do get some gaps down here at the 533 area and 520 area. So we get some gaps to fill on the way down. Yeah, the big one right there is 530. So, but yeah, we'll see if we have to fill those gaps. We usually do. We don't know what's going to happen this week. I mean, Powell could surprise us, maybe not. And usually what's been happening is Monday and Tuesday, if it's strong going into FOMC, it usually dumps, and if it dumps going to FOMC, it usually pops. Usually, not all the time, but usually that's been the case. It's been what it does in the past, so we'll just keep an eye on that. So SPY, watch both sides. That's why you need to be in the room, because anything can happen. VIX has still got some room to drop. VIX, mean it's above 20. I mean, it's a 22. 20 is right down here. I mean, it can get down to 16, 17, even 15. So, I mean, if SPY does manage to rage the next couple days, or even trade sideways, sometimes SPY will just stay in a tight range until FOMC, until Powell, to find out what it's going to do. And if SPY does manage to stay in a tiny range, that's all VIX needs, and VIX can get clobbered in tiny ranges very, very, very fast. So I mean, we could definitely drop 22 to 17 in a couple days if that ends up happening. So we'll just keep an eye on that. Now, a couple things I'm looking at. BA's been like struggling in this 188 area. I'll be looking at it in both directions. I mean, if it does manage to get over this 188, we could shoot to 190, even 200 pretty quickly. But when it does get to this area on the weekly, it gets slapped down pretty fast. So definitely keep an eye on that. I mean, get some gaps to fill at 166. And yeah, that's pretty much the only gap I see. Now I see gaps from earnings. So, but yeah, over 188, we could see a push to 200. And if it doesn't get over 188, I mean, underneath 182, we probably look for a gap fill down to the 162. So that's something to look at. BABA, I don't usually like to play BABA that much. or I don't usually play it at all, but one of the things I'm looking at is massive gap ups. Um, I'm just looking at like all the gaps. Let's get so many gaps right here. Gap at 123, 122, gap down here at 111. Um, to me, it's at the top of the Kellner channel on the daily. Bama usually doesn't get this much steam and get going, but it did right here. But I think that was because of AI, the AI craze. So I would watch Bama to fill these gaps down. So I would watch it underneath 124 for a gap fill down to 120, even down to the 115 area, 110. I mean, you could keep going, but I almost feel like the AI craze is not as hardcore as it used to be. It's kind of like withering away, or maybe it's just not as popular right now. But Baba, I would definitely look for a retracement. Plus, you get this heavy resistance right here at this 128 area. Yeah, 128, 129. So definitely keep an eye on Baba for a reversal on that. Microsoft is another one. Be looking at Microsoft, huge gap up from earnings. I'll be looking for a fade on the earnings meeting. Look at the RSI on the daily. It's 72. It was 87 at one point on the hourly. It's starting to fade, so it's got a bearish divergence going on. Just making higher highs of price, and the RSI is dropping, so definitely indicating that we might possibly reverse a little bit here, and it's got some resistance in this 450 area. So if it does manage to get over Friday's high of 440, we could shoot to 450, then possibly rejecting and come down. But I would be more interested in underneath 430. Gets under 430. 425 is gap support. It breaks that, we're probably going to end up shooting to 400 on that. So Microsoft's got a gap to fill. Who knows if it will, but something to keep an eye on. Netflix has just been going crazy. I mean, the daily looks crazy. The hourly looks crazy. I mean, the RSI on the daily is 76. A massive bearish divergence going on the weekly. You got the price making higher highs as the RSI is making lower highs. The same with histogram. But don't jump into puts or jump in thinking that Netflix is going to dump or crash, because we've seen weekly bearish divergences on I think it was like Baidu, Alibaba, and Roku, where it lasted months. So this could end up lasting months too. But I mean, look at this. Look at Netflix. This is just crazy. But yeah, I'd be watching it underneath 1150, but pushed it down to 1100, or even down to the 1050 area. Then you got obviously 1,000. I mean, that'd be a pretty significant drop for Netflix if it does do that. I mean, our side needs to cool off. I mean, this is pretty much a similar run right here, and then it just dumps off right there. Then as you can see, it's diverging. So we may see this kind of a thing like this, and like right here, just slowly grinding up, then it finally dumps. I mean, so definitely keep an eye on it. We could end up, I think we may have something more like this, where we have run one deep red day or a deep red week, then maybe make newer highs, and finally we actually end up fading. So Netflix is definitely something to keep an eye on. Nvidia. Now Nvidia, I would watch over like 115. It gets over 115, we're probably going to shoot to 120, 125, 130. I mean, this looks pretty good for a bounce, at least to the 125 area, maybe even the 130, 135. So definitely keep an eye on Nvidia for a bounce. Tesla looks like it's getting ready to on the daily too. I mean, it's rejecting right around close to 295 up here, but if it does manage to get over 295, probably going to shoot to 300, 325, possibly even 350 pretty quickly. So it does look pretty good on the daily for a bounce. Inverted head and shoulders, you get the left, you get the head, and the small right shoulder right here possibly, or maybe it dips down lower and before it makes a a run maybe a couple weeks down the road, but gets over 295, we could end up seeing a pretty big run on Tesla. Like I said, over 300, 320, 325, 350, we could definitely possibly see on that. So some things to watch, but everything's going to hinge on FOMC and what Powell does. And so it's going to be interesting. Maybe Powell starts talking about the effects of tariffs and stuff like that. Maybe inflation gets triggered or something. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. That's why I need to be in the room. And it's going to do it. Thanks for watching.